Hey Jesse, what's up?
Hey Andy. Hey, nice earrings.
Thanks for my manifestation earrings.
Are they because it's Marsy? Is that why they're red?
Yeah, because you and I are Marsing. Mars is opposed to your Mars, and it's opposed to my Mercury. So we're still Marsing right now, and you were having stress dreams, and I was having like talking dreams of like all this stuff I had to say for all these questions I've gotten in the last few months. And so it was just, you know, it's just been a day. It's been a night. So are you holding up all right?
Oh, yeah, same. I had this crazy stress dream, yeah, where I was in charge of this AC/DC show and we had to change venues on them, and the band didn't want to change venues, and the stage was falling apart, and we had to duct tape it all together. And then I sort of came to, and I realized, like, whoa, wait a minute, this is not my actual life problem here, and woke myself up. Although I do have to say that I want to be able to get to the point where when I do realize, like, wait, this is just a dream, I can flip it. You know how you can, and so I don't know if you want to talk about hypnagogic state, but that I want to talk about manifestation theory because I do think that's like a key point at which you can uh auto suggest things to yourself intentionally. And I think that a lot of these methods that we're studying about manifestation theory are all starting to say, like, repeat these things when you get up in the morning and right before you go to bed. And those happen to be the times that, like, you are most susceptible to the, like, influence of your own autosuggestion. What do you think?
Oh, interesting. Well, that would make sense. I mean, what I think about why you're supposed to repeat, like in the thing we're discussing today, he says to write down what you want. So that's the first thing we got to figure out is what we want in manifestation. And then it's like you write it down and then you look at it, you write it down in the morning and then noon and then night, right? Like you do it three times.
Hmm?
And like I've been thinking about this because I think what happens is that things intrude upon what we want. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about this where you were having this stress dream and I was having these stress dreams too of like things I got to say and stuff like that. And these manifestation theory people are like, hold your vision in your mind 24 hours a day and it will occur. And like as an astrologer, I know transits intrude, like energies intrude, like you're trying to hold your vision and then all of a sudden you're Mars transiting and you're like getting attacked in your own mind or like so it's like I think intrusions are a thing. Or for example, you'll be trying to manifest something and then someone comes at you with something against that manifestation during the day. And it's like, it's an intrusion, basically. So the reason to do it in morning, noon, and night is to remind yourself of what you're trying to go for over and over again, no matter what's coming at you.
Hmm.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I agree. You have to keep reminding yourself so you don't forget. Do I think, and so that's the other thing too, is that it's the other people thing. Let's talk about that for a sec. So actually, maybe we should take a step back and talk about, like, and introduce what it is that the pamphlet that we just read, right?
Okay. Okay.
So this is called It Works. It's in the public domain. People can find it. And it's by this dude named R.H. Jarrett. He self-published it in 1926, right? And basically, he had through a three-step process of manifestation. And also, as an aside, I think this is based off of this other guy's thing, Emil Coué. You've heard of him?
Mm-mm.
All right, so he's the guy who came up with every day in every way, I'm getting better and better.
Okay.
Have you heard of that mantra?
Maybe you told me that, but
Oh, I don't know. It was like he in the 20s came over to the US on, like, a tour. He was a French pharmacologist or something. He gave prescriptions of medication to people, and he realized he was like the first Western person about auto suggestion, maybe, that anyway I've heard about in my recent things, studies. But so he did these experiments where he would tell people before he gave them some medicine how great it was and how it was going to work. And he scientifically was comparing it to if he didn't say that, and the people who he suggested that it was going to work uh, responded
It
better.
worked. It worked. Like the medicine worked when he suggested that would have worked, but not as well when he didn't suggest it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's so interesting because I think the power of manifestation is the power of visions. Like, okay, so this is really interesting. I grew up as a Christian Scientist. At least my mom was a Christian Scientist, like a light one. Like she didn't really practice that much, but I learned from her. And my dad was like an astrophysicist, so I got like both science and I got Christian Science. And so in Christian Science, when someone's sick, you're supposed to imagine them whole and healthy while you're talking to them. So, like, because they say that what we envision of a person is what we give back to them. So, like, let's say you told me you were sick, and so I started imagining you as sick. I'd be like, "Oh, are you okay?" And like, look at my face has changed all of a sudden because I'm imagining you as sick. So I'm basically giving you sickness back to you, like
Mhm.
psychically, you know. But we learn in Christian Science is like, if you're sick, I'd be like, "Oh, you're whole and healthy. Hi, how's it going?" Like, you just basically talk to
Mhm.
the person as if they're whole and healthy because you're holding a vision of that in your mind. So that was my first real lesson in visioning and how visioning can heal anything, basically. Like, so that's the same with the medicines. When he told them that the medicine was awesome, they got the vision of what the healing that would occur. And the medicine, it's like, it's the vision
Yeah.
of healing that heals you, not necessarily the chemical.
Yeah, because maybe it was then because it's like, confirmation bias or whatever, when, or anchoring, I guess, anchoring bias. When he's implanting like a vision of them being healthy, you think like, oh, well, somebody else thinks I could be healthy, and you can vision that yourself. And then yeah, I definitely think that replacing the visions, uh but it's the same thing as vision boarding. Like, it's so weird how like these same techniques just pop up all over the place, right?
Well, and they all have to do with vision. So one of the things I learned in manifestation theory is that the more you talk about something, the more it happens. And so that seems, kind of weird, but think about this. Like if I give you a vision in your mind, then all of a sudden you'll hold that vision in your mind about me. So like watch, I'll do one. Hey Jesse, guess what? Guess what's going on in the Moira Press right now? Books are flying off the shelves. Like books are just flying. They're just flying off the shelves, man. Like I go into my email and there's just another email like of a person wanting to buy a book and I'm just like, "Oh my God, you want to buy this book?" Oh, flying off the shelves. I'm just shocked at how hardcore they're flying off the shelves. Okay, so now in your mind, you're like, oh, you know what's going on with my friend Andy is her books are flying off the shelves. So, next time you see somebody who wants a book to read, you're like, oh, you know what? You should check out the Moira Press because like their books are flying off the shelves. Like I'm not
Yeah.
trying to make it seem that simple, but it's like you tell people what you want to happen for you, and then that's what they help you out with.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's a matter of rebaselining. It's like rebaselining the world around you to that new reality. So yeah, I think that
Want me
that
to do
is
a negative
exactly
one
how I
just to
see
show you the
reality.
difference? Okay, guess what's going on with me right now? Guess what I'm coming into?
Oh, what's happening, Andy?
Well, I'm in a Mars transit, so I'm about to get really, really, really sick because I'm in a Mars transit. Mars
Oh
is going to
man.
oppose my Uranus, and I'm going to get really sick because when Mars hits Uranus, you get sick. Are you worried for me? Are you worried?
Yeah, I would be.
Exactly, but I would like I'm erasing that vision. Erase that vision. That was a fake vision, you guys. Like Mars is
Yeah.
coming to my Uranus, and I'm gonna be super excited and super awesome because that's the vision that I see. Like, but I had to do the
Yeah.
negative one to show you the power of it. Like, you just got really
Yeah.
nervous. for me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that would be awful. All right, so but wait, let's get back to the transits and other people because so wait, we'll get back to RH Jarrett, it works. So the first thing you have to do is figure out what do you want? Like what do you really want out of life? Enough so that you would like write it down on a piece of paper that you take out every 3 times a day or, Emil Coué's thing is like, make a string and knot it 20 times and like a rosary and like as you're falling asleep, you say that, the thing to yourself or, whatever.
Oh, that's a
So,
good idea. So you take prayer beads, and for every bead, you say that thing to yourself.
mhm.
Oh my God, I'm gonna do that one. That's a freaking good idea.
Oh
Like
yeah, that'll really have you
I
do it a
can
lot.
fix the one I just gave you. Watch, I'm whole and healthy. I'm whole and healthy. I'm whole and healthy. I'm whole and healthy. I'm whole and like I'm back to it. I'm fine.
Yeah. Whew.
Ah, so in
So when you're waking up or when you're going to sleep, and I think so when you're waking up, now that's the other thing, this other book that we're reading, that he has you write what you want, what you intend, and your script of the day in the morning before other things can influence you. Same thing with the yogis who want you to wake up and right at the dawn is the time when you can really manifest things and you should do your meditation practices and envisioning things then too, right? Like I do think it has to do with the borderline between sleep and wakefulness
yeah.
that you can really influence your future. Anyway, so first is you figure out what you want and then you read the list morning, noon, and night. The rule number two,
So you
there are
wait,
only
you write a list of everything you want. Like how many things can you have on the list?
well, I think in his thing, you're supposed to boil it down to something pretty short because, and with the idea that like the other things that you want in life, your life goals or life purpose are kind of all lead in the same direction. But I think it can change too, and I do maybe that has the transits things going on is like what you want will change depending on the transits, right?
Yeah, okay, here's an example of this. So, well, first of all, the book we're reading says you can write like a list of 20 things if you want. Like there's no end to it in the scripting book. Like that he says you can be as detailed as you want. This guy, it works. I think he's like write 3 things and then, and it's like I think it depends. I mean, I don't know. We could try both and see what happened. But what was I gonna say? Oh, the trends. Okay, so Shane and I had this. We're watching the Secret and Manifestation movies together, and so we're trying to manifest things together as a couple. So we had to. It was like the biggest difficulty was trying to find a vision that we both liked, right? And so
Mhm.
okay, so he wanted me to make a vision like we sell 100 copies, 1,000 copies of the Valens Anthology this year. And I was like, I don't do number visions. Because after I tried to do the 10 people at each class at school, it stressed me out. And the reason I didn't like the number vision is because when something happened that didn't happen in that number, my soul started to deflate. And so it's like,
Oh yeah.
you actually have to have your soul behind this.
Yeah, and well, you know what? I think it's like the opposite of SMART goals. You know how in business you're supposed to have specific, measurable, actionable, realistic or reachable and TT time bound. Anyway, those goals that you can actually quantitatively know if you've met or not. I think this you have to do the opposite so that you allow, if you call it God's will or the universe, to manifest it the way that it's most likely given the other people in the a consensual reality or whatever, a way that what you really want can happen and is most likely to happen.
So, okay, so there's something to this. Like, okay, you and I can actually be doing some really good work here because I agree with you. So when Shane wanted me to do the number for the books or whatever, I was like, oh, it's stressing me out. Like, I can't do the number. He's like, why? What's wrong? You're supposed to ask for $1 million or whatever. I was like, I don't do number manifestations because, like, that. So, what I changed it to was the books are flying off the shelf. The books are flying off the shelf because every time I get an email for someone wanting a book, it confirms my vision every time, even if it's one email this month. I'm like, oh my God, the books are flying off the shelf. It's
Yeah, yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So I need something where even a little trickle can confirm my vision. Like I want
Mm.
something that like so I think it's okay to sculpt a vision really carefully that something that you really can have your spirit open, your chakras open while you're manifesting it because anything that will close your chakras while you're manifesting it is a problem.
Hmm.
Okay. So, but then I said to Shane, I want to reserve the right to tweak the vision. And he's like, no, you're supposed to keep the same vision for months and months. And like, and I was like, no, your transits will tweak the vision, right? And
Hmm.
so it's like got tweaked 3 days later. You know what it changed to?
What's that?
Balance and remediation are flying off the shelf. Balance and remediation are flying off the shelf.
Oh,
Then
yeah,
it
okay.
changed again. You know what it changed to?
What's that?
The books are flying off the shelf. The Moira Press books are flying off the shelf. Now they're all flying off the shelf. Like, you see what I mean? Like, it's like I keep tweaking it to be a more even better, like,
Right. Yeah, I think maybe there's something to like expanding the possibility of success, right?
yeah.
And not preventing success to happen in other ways that your own mind had limited it, right? It's too limiting to say that my mind knows exactly how this should manifest because you don't have all the information at that time. And you're continually changing and growing. And anyway, the whole universe is tending towards entropy. So,
Well, so I think it's okay I think manifesting is an art form. Like, okay, like everyone's just like, if you start doing The Secret, you'll be fine. But like, I think good manifestors they develop it like an art form of just like martial arts where it's like I
mhm.
tried the number. You have to try something. So I tried the number. I was like Astro School 10, Astro School 10, Astro School 10. That's like I want 10 people in class or whatever. But like then that like I learned that a number doesn't work for my spirit. Like some people have
Yeah,
this it's like the number thing in it. So I think with manifesting just like anything, you got to try it and see what works and what doesn't, what you like and what you don't. You just like it's not like you're just good at it or you're not.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I'd say that's 100% true. And I started when I started with this, when we were starting this, is like, I don't know what I want. And it was really hard to even say a list, come up with a list, admit the list, something. And I think that's okay too, that you can start just like everything is practicing, right? And I like the list changing. I like the method of you wipe the page every day and you write a new list of what you want that day because yeah, I'm finding myself week after week like something that I thought was like the most important thing that I was being, I don't know, moody about one day is like that something happens and then that's no longer the most important thing.
Mhm.
But it's all directionally towards the same long-term goals.
Yeah. Well, some things will show up on your list over and over and over again. And those are the things that you really, I think, are manifesting long term, right? There could be short-term manifestations. Like they teach you to do really easy manifestations, like I'm gonna manifest a cup of coffee tomorrow. Just to make your muscle, basically you're exercising your visioning muscle. Like, I want a cup of coffee. I see it. I get it. I see it. I get it. I see it. That's like exercising the muscle.
Yeah.
But then it's okay to have something that you have to hold space for months, and like, but if it's a good vision and I think, it will prevail for months and months. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If it's good for you.
Yeah. I
You know.
think so too.
So I want to address something you said about not want or having a hard time writing your wants. Okay, so I think this is a Pisces problem. Like you're a Pisces sun and you have 4 planets in Pisces, and I'm a Pisces moon. And like I had a problem with this part too of like wanting things because I'm always like, I was trained in recovery to be like, what is God's will for my day? What is God's will? Like, you're supposed to give up your ego and go only towards God's will. Because when we're too egoic, then we get into problems of like being deflated and disappointed, basically. And so, like, when you go to like, what is God's will? What is God's will? I'm like, but I feel like, for the last few years, like, you and I have been in that state of like, what is the world's will for us, like being humbly open to what manifests around us, like,
Mhm.
and like I think it's you and I are developing the muscle of wanting things, like, isn't that weird?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Because I
Yeah,
think
I think I did a lot of things to kind of tamp down the feelings of wanting things or feeling like I deserve things or whatever. And I also definitely have to say, not doing drugs and alcohol is helping my confidence in my ability to want things.
Yeah, totally. I guess I was like that too when I was drinking and smoking. I would just be like drinking and smoking away the day. And it's like, that was kind of an act of not wanting things and just being placated. It's like having a baby bottle or something. Um, just be like, everything's okay, everything's okay, everything's okay, everything's okay, instead of like being like, what would make everything awesome? Like, whereas now that we're sober, we're just like, wait, what makes our day magical? We do.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know. I think it also for me gave me an excuse for things not to be awesome in some weird way. I don't know. I have to think more on that. Anyway, that's a tangent.
I mean, you were awesome when you were smoking, just so you know. I mean, like, you've never not been awesome. Because your transits are still working and stuff. It's not that. I just think us wanting things is kind of like a new exercise for you and I, because I didn't mean to bring Pisces into it, but I think Pisces is not a super egoic sign. It's kind of a like, let's do yoga and give up our needs kind of sign, or let's work for the greatest good of all concerned kind of sign.
Hmm. Yeah. Hmm.
But I think you can develop your needs around that, like,
Yeah. Yeah. I think that comes out anyway because, as they say, like you got to put on your own oxygen mask first, right? Like it's in being the most awesome me I can be that serves the world better.
well, and actually, my like the books flying off the shelf actually does come from a greater good, because if books are flying off the shelf, then I can actually be paid to Facebook, which actually makes people really happy. Like, I can get in there and talk about their charts, and like I can spend all this free time. Like, it would give me free time to work with the crowd, which they love. Like, so I actually made that decision for the greatest good of all concerned, because I can actually make enough money sign language interpreting. I actually don't need to sell any books. But when the books fly off the shelf, like, oh my God.
Yeah, well, and that many more people get to read them is the whole point too. It's like sharing the knowledge that you've learned,
Yeah.
or
So what are some examples from your list?
all right. Well, first, I think should we talk about not wait, we talked about one and two, which is identify your wants. And the second was think of what you want as often as possible. And now you're asking me to tell people what they are. And that goes against his third rule, which we should talk about. Not that I'm not going to say what they are, but don't talk with anyone about your plan or how it is that you are going about getting what you want. And what's also funny is when you first posted about something about manifesting on your Facebook page, somebody said like, "Well, how do you deal with the shadow side?" And I don't know if they were like coming at it from like a hermetic angle, like as above, so below. Like if you cause something awesome for yourself, it's gonna cause some bad thing for somebody else, or like what's the deal with that?
God, that's a good question. So, like, I broke that rule. I mean, I guess it's not that I didn't remember it. I guess I kind of maybe sometimes when I read stuff and I don't agree with it totally, then I just choose to forget, like the confirmation bias is like, I'm like, no confirmation, no, like, but, because what I've learned in manifesting is the more you talk about something, the more it happens, so it's like I've actually learned something that contradicts that one. So it's like, I don't know that I think that works for some charts and some people. Let's say somebody has a Mercury Saturn conjunction, they're very quiet and mysterious. Like they can still manifest just with visions and energy and chakras. But if
Mm-hmm.
you have a loquacious and talkative chart, like maybe talking about your visions works better for you. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I kind of think what I've been thinking about this is that is your method is confronting things head on. So in a way, you're a transparency artist, right? And so you like to say what's happening and you want to get the feedback and you want to confront the feedback. So maybe you also intentionally solicit the shadow side so you can deal with it right there in the open. Like that people are going to be against what you want, whether they're going to be open about it or not, or be annoyed with you and talk about you, or they secretly do things so that you don't get what you want because you don't deserve it or whatever. Like you're forcing it all out in the open.
Yeah, I love that you know that and you understand that because I actually like to co-create. So one of my problem, it's not, I don't have a problem with manifesting, but I let the crowd tweak my visions constantly. Because I'm like, oh, let's manifest this, and they're like, we don't like that, and I'm like, okay, let's manifest something different. Let's manifest something we like. Like I actually like to say, like, what do we want? And then there's sometimes where I'm not really open to a vision being tweaked. Like, for example, the books are flying off the shelf. I'm not open to people tweaking that. It's like if someone's like, "Oh, you capitalist," I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, whatever. You don't get it." Like, the books need to be shelved
Yeah.
off the shelves because, like, I literally need to have time to read Valens with people. If the books aren't flying off the shelves, like, the people want me to read Valens with them, and I can't. It's like you don't know, bro. Like, so it's like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
with co-creation art or transparency art where you do talk about your vision, people will impede on the vision. And I think one of the powers I'm learning by talking this through with you is by not telling people your vision, you don't let anyone get in and wedge themselves in your vision. Like you don't get any interference in the vision.
Hmm.
But like, I don't love that because I want my visions to be tweaked. That's why I have a team working with me because you got to be careful what you vision for. It's like, let's be careful what we ask for because you can have it.
Oh, yeah, because so that's the other thing too. It's like, are you open to feedback? And do you think that the collective like consciousness and inviting other people in for their perspectives is more powerful than saying like, oh, only my perspective counts? And I think that our society or our human evolution or whatever is learning that inclusivity is actually better or
Interesting.
yields better results.
Interesting.
So maybe it is time to let go of the like, don't tell anybody what you want or that this is how you're getting it.
Yeah. Well, we could say that when this was written, there was a different Pluto was in a different position and Uranus was in a different position and Neptune was in a different position. And like that guy might have had like we should check out where the outer planets were when that was like the ethos. Because, my generation is Pluto and Libra, which is a collaborative Pluto, which is like I said an idea, then you said an idea, then I said an idea. Like every idea I have gets run by my partners in the business. It's like no vision gets manifested without checking with everyone. And that's my Pluto and Libra talking. Is like I literally wouldn't feel comfortable just like being like egoically like my vision is this. Like so I guess I also agree with not disagree with step one, but I would add step zero, which is talk with your team about what you should want.
Uh,
Then make a list of what you want.
right. Yeah, because I would never hesitate talking to you about what I want because I know that you want me to be successful in whatever and get whatever I want. And you would help and not hinder me, you know? I think maybe it isn't true of all people, and maybe there does have to be some discretion about how it is that you talk about it, but I don't know.
I think you're, at least with me, you're a talker. We have a great composite Mercury. And so, like, us talking is healing no matter what we're talking about. Like, like it was so weird. Yesterday we were talking and we decided to make this video, and then it turned out it was on your thing to make videos. Like, it's like, it's crazy. Like, us talking is a very healing act no matter what. So I think, I guess that guy has one style, and that's the like hermetic, magical, elusive style.
Mhm.
But like at least I am the transparency. Like Fern's a transparency artist too. Like she'll talk about our visions too. Like she has a really strong Mercury as well. So I think it really depends on your Mercury.
Yeah, right on. And like you say, it's the times too, right? I mean, now with Pluto coming on, I think that we'll all be collaborating about things.
Oh yeah, because Pluto's in Aquarius and Jupiter's in Gemini, so we'll all be talking about things. Like
Yeah.
I've noticed my talking has gone up like 300% since Jupiter went in Gemini. It's just like, So yeah, I'm sorry that I broke that rule, and now you probably don't trust that I read the book or something.
No, that's not true. And yeah, no, we're the books are all they're all giving their techniques, and I think what we're doing is personal experimental mashup of the things that are working and not working for us, right?
Hmm.
So I'm picking the things that work out of this Rice Christian book. I'm picking the things that work out of this Mitch Horowitz video that I watched. I'm picking out of this R.H. Jarrett, and I got another one that I want to suggest to you, another pamphlet style thing to read next.
Nice. I can't wait to make another vid. So, are you gonna disclose any of your wants or no?
Oh yeah, so let's see. Well, the wants that I'm working on right now are I want to make a bunch of videos. I want to feel creatively and artistically expressed. And I want to have local friends that invite me out to do things with them, and that I invite them out to do things together. And I think that this is a good Jupiter season for all of that.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you told me verbally that you want to make vids because that I can help in that manifestation process because I want to make vids with you too. It's funny, no matter how many vids I make with how many people, I you and I talking because of our natal charts and our composite is always good for the greatest good of all concerned. Like we never have had a bad conversation ever. And like I think whatever you want to call us, if we're like social media influencers or whatever it is, it's like if you're going to be an influencer, you might as well say something good. It's like so I think us talking on video would be awesome. Are you going to talk with other people on video?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I want to make actually not all talking videos because I have some more artistic videos that I want to make. I want to make nature videos with drum circle sounds. I got a lot of instruments I've been playing lately, and I want to, yeah, kind of match up because I also really love video editing. So I want to do that. I want to be inspired to reset up my studio, which I've been doing so that I have a great place to just pop in and do that. And yeah. What I love about all this manifestation stuff is it's very inspirational to myself. And I love like writing down like, oh, this is going to happen and that's going to happen and this is going to happen because I do think that the focus about manifestation theory does make things happen because then I reread the things that I was going to do and then I do them.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm taking a really good lesson from this one that there are some manifestations you want to keep quiet because you don't want anyone to ruin that vision for you. Like I have one manifestation that I'm not going to talk about on here because some people would disagree with it or think that it's not possible. And it's like I'm just like not even gonna tell you people because you'll be like, no, or no, that's not gonna happen, or like, no, we don't agree, or whatever. And it's just like, no, this one's gonna happen. Like, I have one of those which I'm not gonna tell anybody,
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you in private because I know that you would honor that vision with me because you just know you've known me for 20 years. But yeah, like what I'm learning from our conversation here is like there are some visions that you should not share.
Yeah.
And some are fine because I don't know, either you're so strong in that vision or like the book's flying off the shelf. It's like no one can really, I mean, I'm in charge of that one. I mean, well, some people, like, I guess other people are in charge of it, but it's like ultimately up to me to make that one happen. Like in a weird way. I mean, yeah, I have to move people to take a book or whatever, but like the books are really good. It's like it's just like I have to like focus my energy. Like for example, today I did not sign language interpret even though I would have gotten paid for that. And I did marketing work at the Moira Press instead, and like that's because I'm visioning books flying off the shelf. And it's like, if I sit around interpreting, the books aren't going to fly off the shelf, are they? So it's like that one is like all me in some ways. Like, I mean, it's never all you, but no one's gonna, I mean, I don't know, that one seems less tenuous. Like, some visions are more, take more faith.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. I myself have to say I'm still working my way towards the ones that are more ambitious. That I'm actually reveling in the things that I can actually do in a day or a few days or move the needle on. And then maybe that's what I'm doing more right now. I'm doing baby steps. I'm doing the like, I'm envisioning myself, getting everything organized at work because I've been feeling stressed out about the all the projects that I am in charge of and all the steps that have to be done with them. And so in my this morning's fake script that I wrote about how things were all going to go awesome today, it ended up being like, and I got everything organized with the project that I'm working on, and if all the other things that I've been ignoring, it turns out is fine that I can keep ignoring them.
Interesting.
And I'm
Well,
just milling my way into that.
Well, you know what's interesting about I think I've been actually working on manifestation for years and I didn't know it, which is, when people look at transits and they're like, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to me when this thing happens?
Hmm.
Like, since I wrote remediation, I've been like, what am I going to do with this energy that's coming up? What am I going to do with this? And I've been mega manifesting my chart since I realized you could do that. Like that's basically the Christian Scientist's version of astrology is like, I'm going to imagine myself whole and healthy through every transit and like being awesome and using the cheat. Like, so it's like, I've been like, what am I going to manifest for this transit? What am I going to manifest for this transit? So in a way, I have been manifesting for years, but I just do it little micro transits at a time, like one Mars at a time. I don't, um, yeah, so I think I have had some practice at this. Like I don't let like the planets have their way with me.
Hmm.
I don't really let the world have its way with me. I think the Moira Press has actually been built on visions and manifestation actually because like being an entrepreneur you kind of have to be a manifester because you're building something from the ground up. Like every day you go and build and you build and you build some more.
Mm. Yeah. And I think I'm trying to and have been working on like building a cool and awesome life. And in things like, say something happens and somebody does something that gets me really angry or whatever. I generally don't go back at it right away because I don't know. So maybe this works or doesn't work. But I feel like, all right, so if I go and yell at somebody that they were being a total, jerk about this or that because they should have done this or should have done that, because I get in these self-righteous moods sometimes, then it creates a reality in which like that happened and I yelled at them and it turned out I was wrong, right? And so I would try to avoid having those realities happen. What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
well,
Me?
that's narrative building to me. So like let's say something happened because is how things happen is partially how you perceive them happening. Like we could have something happen today and like we could each have our own narrative about it. That's what I
Mhm.
call narrative. So it's like um you know, I like that about you that you don't put negative narratives on our experiences. Like I guess that's how I would look at it. Because like some people do, like I'll have a great experience with them and then they'll be like, I'm mad at you because of XYZ. And it's like they're choosing to be mad at me instead of choosing to have enjoyment about what happened. It's like it's kind of like a choice. So yeah, I kind of do the same thing like with Shane, my boyfriend, like I manifest a narrative that is beautiful about our relationship so that we have a beautiful relationship. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
for
that's
example,
what I'm talking about.
I don't say, you never scratch my back. Like I never say that. I would say, I love how often you scratch my back. Because I'm basically giving him a vision of him scratching my back instead of being like, you never do XYZ.
Hmm.
Like I try not to be like we don't you don't kiss me enough. No, I'd be like kissing you is awesome. Like if so I'm always flipping a negative narrative into a manifestation narrative.
Yeah.
And that sounds like that's what you do too.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I guess it is. It's like reality selection, right? And that's what I like about the exercise in which you are saying the positive things because it is like selecting that reality in which those positive things happen and not doing things that lock you in to a world in which the negative things happened.
Hmm. Um, God, I was just going to say something about that. Oh, this is gratitude lists. Like in AA, I learned gratitude lists. So like let's say you're depressed, right? And you're having a bad transit. Let's say moon's hitting your Saturn and you just feel like down. You switch it with a gratitude list. And you're like, oh, I'm so grateful from this. I'm so grateful for yeah, and then you can find like 2,000 things you're grateful for. Like it's like crazy, right? Now do I take a perfection stance on this? No. Like for example, I released a video the other day where I made I guess a mistake in this narrative building. Like I was saying like no one owns astrology and but I didn't say like so and so thinks they own astrology. I was just making the point that no one owns astrology. And they felt like I was alluding to the fact that they own astrology. So I alluded a negative narrative on accident. Like I was trying to fix a narrative that some people have and I alluded a negative narrative. So then I took that video down and remade it so that it had a positive narrative only. Like I actually make mistakes in narrative building some once in a while. That was Mars opposing my Sun square Mars. And so it's like that was me having a bad Mars transit. Like it also hit my Mercury. So I said things in a kind of negativistic way, you know?
Mhm.
But I'm always trying to be like I have a Mercury trine Jupiter also, so I take negative and make it positive over and over. I go from like a Sun, Mars, Saturn, two of Mercury's trine Jupiter every time. So I'll be like, that situation sucked. A positive narrative about that would be this. Like I do that like over and over again. But like I don't a lot of that is me filtering negative narratives that come in from the crowd. Like basically like there's a narrative that keeps being brought to me that, that fight is going on. Like people are like, there's this fight going on. There's a 7 hour fight video. There's a 7 hour fight video. So it's like, what do I do? Do I ignore the 7 hour fight video and be like, everything's fine, peace, peace, peace? That's what I'm trying to do. And then another video, I'm like acknowledging the 7 hour fight video. Like it's like I dance between the two because you don't want to be a Pollyanna and be like, everything's fine. It's like you have to acknowledge the narratives coming at you and then manifest a brighter narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the trick. I think that's the trick right there. Like to not be, like you say, Pollyanna about it. But I do have to say, in my journals, I am being very like enthusiastic and only selecting the enthusiastic and happy things for sure.
Yeah. Well, one of the things about you, I just want to say, my experience with you is you've actually never brought a negative narrative to me ever. And we've been talking every day for like, so I do appreciate and honor for you for what you're doing in your life to create a constantly positive narrative. Like, I've never had to take a negative narrative that came from you and switch it to a positive narrative.
Mm.
Like, you already did that when you got to me. You know what I mean? But a lot of charts are functioning in a way that they don't know what you know. Like I deal with students and like it's just like I deal with a lot of negative narratives. So it's like, but my chart fights negative narratives and turns them positive. I'd be like, oh, about this narrative, let's look at it this way.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you have an ability to do that without getting thrown off, which is amazing, I have to say.
Well, I feel like one of the things I'm watching you learn is to not ignore people's negative narratives when they come at you and be like a yogi about it, because you can just be like sitting there like a yogi filtering your energy, but that doesn't stop the negative narrative that come at you. You have to kind of do a keto where you go at it and flip them with their own negative energy, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, or just
Yeah, you can step to the
keep
side.
going.
Yeah. I don't think I
All
give you
right.
very many negative narratives. I don't think I
Oh,
do.
you don't ever bring negative narratives to me. No, not at all. And I totally appreciate your energy and ability to get out there and fight. And yeah,
Mm.
you have a whole you deal with the whole realm of everything.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
awesome.
Thank you. I love your Sun Mars trine. I think you're a fighter too. You just fight more with action than words. Like because I have a Mercury Sun Mars, so I do the verbal repartee, but I feel like you do fight with your actions. Like you know what I mean? Your competency and your joy and like I don't know that and your yoga and stuff like is a fight. Like it is like you said that negative narrative to me, I'm gonna clear my energies with yoga for an hour and then I'm gonna go about my day. Like that is fighting, with an act.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's some action in stepping away.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, what else do we have to say about this manifestation?
Well, I'm just saying, I just want to say I'm enjoying having you as a buddy in this because it's a process of learning. Like, I feel like I'm on a learning curve, and if we keep doing this together. So, do you want to talk again next? No, next Monday I can't talk because I'm going to be at the Chesapeake NCGR doing a talk on astrological remediation, so I can't. But we could record
Oh,
Sunday
nice.
if you want to, we could record Sunday.
Oh yeah, we should do that.
Okay. Well, what do we want to talk about next? Or do we want you send me a list. Hold on. It was the next thing we're going to talk about is the review of The Secret.
Oh yeah, we could do a review of The Secret. I haven't watched it. Maybe I should go watch it, or I could read it because every single used bookstore has at least one copy of it.
Just watch it so we can talk about the same movie.
All right. Well, I'll watch it. Or what are we gonna do if I don't get to that? Let's see. Well, I have this other uh pamphlet I want you to read. And the other topic that I did want to talk about is or had a topic is about transforming fears into wants.
Ooh, I like that one. I would do either of those. You tell me what you want to do on when it gets to Sunday.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
This is such a good combo. I learned a lot.
Oh, me too. That was a great conversation.
I love you.
I'm glad you read the book. I'm glad I'm like, here, read this.
Oh no,
And
I'm so glad for the assignment. Are you kidding?
nice.
Yeah. All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.